Good morning and welcome back to DR Sports for yet another edition of the Weekend Roundup. Myself, AGT, and man like Fuad. How are we, fella?
Bro? All good, all good.
Man like Fuad will be running through all of the results over the weekend. What a absolute belter of a day for you, by the way, yesterday.
Lovely. You love to see it.
This guy's smile has been
honestly
as wide as the Seven Sisters Road. Trust me on that one. Let us know in the comments if you're with us. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. We finally got past 200k.
Right, big ups.
So yeah, big up to man like DR as well.
For real.
Couldn't afford him on Saturday, so we had to get Laurie on. But hopefully the budget's gone back up now. But yeah, if you are watching us, make sure you comment with your thoughts across the weekend's football. What an incredible weekend of football it's been in the Premier League. Big up to everyone involved in the comments as well. Joseph D chucking it in already. If Arsenal lose tonight, Tottenham are favourites for the top four. These are all things that we will speak about without question. There's no better place to start really than the Tottenham game. But before that, I did want to say a little word, and I know you've got some words to say on Louis van Gaal as well.
Yeah.
He announced yesterday on Dutch TV that he is fighting prostate cancer. So listen, of course, we wish him all the best, but he's a little bit closer to home for you, isn't
Bro, yeah, like for me, I've always kind of grown up with LVG, obviously born in Amsterdam. Kind of like my first football memories were the 95, 96 Ajax side.
Wow.
So he was kind of seen as like the guy who bled that team, went on to the national team, did great things. Like I've always seen him as like a great football mind, but then also one of like Dutch football's godfathers, if you like.
You can say that.
He's always had this respect in the game, I feel like. And the fact that he's still managing the country, didn't tell anyone, it tells you what type of character this man is, honestly. Like, I hope he beats it. Like, it was real sad news when I heard it. I was like, yo, this is mad. But listen, man, prayers up to LVG, and we hope he gets through this, man.
100%,
sure.
man. 100%. Big up to LVG. And again, like you said, for him to keep that to himself and only kind of let the world know now, maybe that's a bad thing. You know, maybe...
I mean, listen, it might be. He said he waited till we secured qualification. Now we're there. Listen, the boys have a little extra edge to play for maybe at the World Cup. So we've never kind of had any success at the World Cup. I think people say Holland are always the best team to have never won it. Listen, LVG's now just come out with this. What better reason to be motivated, you know what I mean?
There you go. Yeah, big up to LVG. Obviously, all sending our best wishes here at DR Sports. Right, let's get into the game that really shook the top four race up massively yesterday. This Tottenham win of 5-1 took them into fourth place in the Premier League. The first time Spurs have ended a day in the top four, having played at least 20 plus matches since they finished fourth in 2018-19 under Pochettino. They've now gained 14 points from losing positions in the Premier League this season, the most of any side. Some stat that, conversely, Newcastle have dropped 24 points from leading positions in this season, also a league high. Spurs fixtures, their remaining fixtures, they're not the easiest. If you want to just run through a couple of games that you've still got, I mean, how many wins are you going to get in the remaining fixtures?
The standout kind of difficult fixtures for me, I think, are the Liverpool
away, last game of the season.
Well, no, I think it's just before that, isn't it?
I think it might be the penultimate game then.
And, well, I hope Arsenal's the penultimate game. If the Premier League are smart, they'll schedule that one in for the final game, because that's the other fixture I think that will really kind of decide this running. But yesterday was kind of one of those games I felt like we really had to win and put a stamp on it. And I think similarly in the reverse fixture, they took the lead early on, and we were kind of looking at 6s and 7s, if you like, at the back. But when Kane in the second half, the way he stepped up, and I think that front three, I've said before, if they're playing at that level, we stand a chance in any game. Kulusevski, what a signing he's been since coming in. But like quality, I think his numbers are 2 goals, 4 assists or 5 assists.
I was with you when he had a belter of a game against Man City. And since he's played since then, let's not forget, himself and Bentancur came in under a little bit of a cloud. People weren't really the most...
Because at Juve, they weren't exactly week in, week out guys. Bentancur was, but his performances maybe hadn't lived up to the expectations. And Kulusevski was more of a bench warmer, impact sub, if you like. So people were saying, can he really have that impact? And even I said, I'm not expecting too much, but if he shows me flashes, I'll be happy with that. I've seen more than flashes. It's been consistent. The end product's been good. And then also, when he's not scoring or affecting final product, he's still involved in the game. He's still working hard defensively.
21 years old?
21 years old. Like, there's so much to build on. And I think Romero's another one. Since he's come back in, 12 starts in a row now, showing some fitness. And some quality blocks yesterday, some quality tackles. I think him and Dyer at the back there have built a little connection. If we can add one more piece at the back there, I think we look promising. But good performances all round, and I think Bentancur, as you said, he's bringing out the best in Højbjerg, which has been something that's been missing the last year or so. I think it's kind of gone under the radar as well as performances. But
yeah, definitely.
Newcastle 5-1, I think we'll take that because the goal difference come the end of the season, you know that stuff matters. So
100%.
Arsenal, now we're ahead of them on goal difference. We'll see. Pressure's on today, lads.
We'll see, and we will preview that game, of course. But in terms of those signings, I've rarely seen, maybe since the summer where Vertonghen came in, Alderweireld came in, all these guys came in, I haven't seen 3 transfers come into Tottenham like that since then.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about Romero, Bentancur and Kulusevski. These guys, in my opinion, were the 3 standout players yesterday. Romero throwing his body on the line. Unbelievable warrior, it seems. Carragher singing his praises as well. Looks like a really good buy. Bentancur, he just looks silky. He looks like he's got time on the ball, technically gifted, strong as well. And like you said, allows Højbjerg to get a bit more stuck in.
100%.
And then Kulusevski as well, the quick feet on the lad.
Quality, man. Quality for a big lad as well.
That kind of 3 up front of Kane, Son and Kulusevski, no matter who you play in any game, that is always going to danger teams.
100%.
Are you happy with the 3 now that you've got up front?
It gives me hope in every game because I know Kulusevski and Son will take the goal scoring load as well, and we were talking about stoppage time as well. If you look at Kane's numbers over the last 3 seasons, they haven't been the 20 plus in the league that he used to hit maybe when he was younger, and that may be because his game's changed a little bit. But yesterday it was a prime example of that. I felt like he single-handedly changed the game without scoring, dropping deep, picking passes out, spraying left and right, picking pockets, picking spaces. It was just a kind of a quality virtuoso, if you like, from him, and I hope those front 3, that's what we're going to hang our hat on under Conte. It's going to be very, very important.
And let's not even forget, Conte loves his wing backs. Both wing backs scoring yesterday.
Some unusual
Emerson
scorers.
Royale, I know. Was it you that called him Chicken Royale? Chicken Royale. He scored yesterday.
Robbie calls him that as well.
Ben Davis scores as well.
Doherty.
And of course Doherty. I mean,
crazy.
You in particular, I remember some words that you had about Doherty, and they weren't the best. But now, who would have even predicted that those 3 would all score yesterday?
But here's the thing. This is what it tells you about Conte's coaching. I think his tactics are working, and it shows when they're getting involved and getting in the final ball. But then the improvements as well we've seen under Doherty, I will say over the last maybe months or so, he looks like he can play a part, maybe be a squad player, but there's so much that was going on before that for 18 months that was so bad. We can't just forget that and ignore that as well at the same time. He's still got a lot to prove in my opinion, but it's good to see them getting in. I said yesterday it was the most unusual scorers, but every dog has his day. And Emerson, I've slated him a lot to come on, get your little one as well. Listen, I hope it's a confidence booster for these boys now. It's not, we've scored and we've done our job. Nah.
Carry on.
Consistency is key now. That's been the biggest issue with this team.
Is there an argument now to say that right now, as we're sitting here speaking on the weekend roundup show, that Harry Kane is the best number 9 and the best number 10 in the Premier League?
There's a case to be made for sure.
I think in the year of 2022, most goals and most assists.
Especially since Conte's come in, I think he's just looked a complete different player. He looks motivated. He looks hungry again. And every aspect of his game just looks so sharp at the minute. And I think he's fit as well. That's the important thing. I think Kane always has these big knocks throughout the year or whatever. This year, again, similarly to last year, he's avoided it. And I think we're seeing kind of the fruits of that. And Conte's getting the best out of him. We've got to give him some credit as well, because this was not the Kane we saw at the start of the season. Let's not forget that.
It took him a while to find his rhythm.
It was the first time, I think, in Kane's career where you looked at him and thought, he might not turn up today type of thing. From minute one, you've never said that about Kane in the last 6 or 7 years. But to turn that around now, and especially World Cup coming at the end of the year, listen, it's going to be a big year for Kane. We'll see what happens in the summer.
Let us know in the comments if you agree with that. Is Harry Kane the best number 9 and number 10 in the Premier League right now? Scores goals, assists goals. He's doing everything right now. Some comments coming in. Spurs will lose their next, and it's as simple as that. What will Job FC, says Suhail Lockhart. Why are Spurs fans getting gassed though, says Path. I mean, listen, a 5-1 victory last night, and they're playing good football. You're not going to be not gassed about that, are you? I would be, of course. Some great comments here from you guys getting involved. Keep them coming in.
A little bit of a worry for Newcastle, though. 3 games in a row now where they've kind of
after such a good run to get them out of that trouble. I mean, Matty was here, and he was saying he doesn't really care. They're on the beach. They've done what they needed to do. So now it's just about building for next year.
But I worry that you don't want to hit the beach too early as well. There's still 8 or 9 games to go.
No one will be on the beach with you.
It's what, 9 points ahead of
9 points ahead.
Listen, if Burnley win those 2 games in hand, things will look a little bit different. And trust me, I wouldn't rule Burnley out, but I think they're comfortable. But you don't want to go on holiday too early. Definitely.
True. Artillero says this C-Tech Wiz Khalifa will be in tears when Conte leaves.
Hey, well played.
He's got him there, to be fair. But no, Conte absolutely smashing it right now. Let us know, Spurs fans, if you want him to carry on and if you want him to really commit to the project long term instead of the only 18 months. Brother. There you go. Best number 9 and number 10 with no silverware, says Silly Man.
That will always be the jibe, but you've got to appreciate a player for what he is, man. Come on, man. We've got to... Let's be grown ups here.
Do you know what? I saw a tweet yesterday from a Spurs fan. I can't remember who it was. And it says, people go on about Harry Kane and no trophies. Harry Kane is the trophy.
Yeah. Bro, Spurs will never in there, for the rest of history, while this club exists, ever produce another talent like that from their academy. Facts. They haven't before and they won't again.
Best ever Spurs player?
Best ever. Well I don't want to go too far back because I went around them days.
Jimmy Greaves would have to pass the mantle over to. I would say, listen, we weren't around in the Greavesy days. Gary Mabbott was the captain in the 90s.
I don't know. There's sentiments. For me, I've always said him and Son, when they leave and finish their Spurs careers, they will be legends. I wouldn't be surprised if they had statues, but if they deliver some silverware, that's the icing on the cake. Yeah.
Right, that's Tottenham. Let's move on to Everton, losing again against West Ham away yesterday. Shocking performance, really. Now West Ham have completed their first league double over Everton since 1973. This was only their second win in the last 14 home games with the Toffees since the start of October, though. Different story for Everton. They've won the fewest points in the Premier League, 12 points since October, and they're the only side in the division not to win an away game in that time frame. So many negative things for Everton in this game. You've obviously got the scoreline. Lampard comes out and questions the character of the players once again. Michael Keane gets another
red card.
Paolo, it's a red card for him. They can't seem to find any luck, and there's a lot of people, I'm sure you'd be the same, where they go, Everton will stay up. They'll just about stay up.
Oh, hell
no.
But
you need a bit of luck to stay up. And it's not like they're playing awfully every week, which most weeks they are, but they're getting no luck as well. And luck gets you through.
You need that, but you create your own luck as well. And I feel like Everton have put themselves in this position. And I said it literally the last time I was here. I was talking about Everton and saying, listen, they need relegation. They need that reality check, because I feel like for 5 or 6 years they've been so badly run. You still look at Richarlison for 50 million. We're talking now. Is it still worth the money?
They really do like Richarlison.
They like Richarlison, but has he been worth 50 million? That guy is not keeping them out of relegation. I'm sorry. Like, I look at Frank Lampard since he's come in. I said too early for me. He's pointing
11
fingers.
losses in 13 games.
Bro. That's bad. There's not even a new manager bounce. No. There's nothing. And stylistically, you can't say they've gotten better. Defensively, you can't say they've gotten better. The signings he's made, have they really improved the team? Dele Alli can't even get a sniff. Van der Beek got injured last minute, all right. But I don't know. I've said, Lampard, I felt like his career, too early he went to Chelsea. And he took this Everton job that was way out of his depth, because that's a big job.
No experience.
Benitez, I felt like
Benitez would have kept them up.
Bring him back in even. Why not?
I'm shaking my head because I just can't believe that we're even saying that,
bro,
in 2022.
It is what it is. But Big Sam, I know he couldn't quite do the job at West Brom, but brother, get him over Lampard, because at least you know he's got the experience. What has Lampard done in his career to show he can survive a relegation battle like this?
I'm with you. If you look at Frank Lampard's CV of clubs he's been at, obviously Derby didn't get them up, Chelsea, we all know what happened there, and now Everton. Tell me where in his credentials, in that CV, does he have the experience, the know-how, and the authority to be in charge of these clubs?
It's crazy.
I personally don't see it.
And my thing is, maybe if they're looking at it long-term, where, yes, we might get relegated, and yes, Lampard will be in charge of that rebuild, cool. Maybe then I understand it, but that means you've prepared for life for relegation. And with the money that they've spent and the players, the wages some of these players are on, even Mikalenko, is it, who they signed in January, 120 grand a week he's on for 5 years.
Wow.
Like, you're signing a left back when you're fighting relegation. Come on, man. Like, this club is so poorly run.
I hear your point on the...
And you think of it, Newcastle, do you remember when they got relegated? They had to get that reality check. West Ham, they had to get that. Leeds, they had to get that reality check. Villa, everyone, once they come back, all of a sudden they're a nice,
The only
club.
difference is, and I agree with you with that point, but the only difference with Everton is, if they go down, it's going to be a fire sale of all the best players.
Good.
And is that enough to get them back up into the Premier League if they do go down? But bro, this stadium,
build round
and
Gordon.
I have to say, I mean, I live in Liverpool. I see the stadium being built every day.
The Kirby.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not really progressing that quick as well. So I feel like if they were to go down, they'd lose a massive chunk of funding for that stadium to be even. Because listen, it's far from finished. I'll tell you now, they're looking at this to be finished in the next 4 years. That would get cut in half. Would they even fill the stadium if they're in the Championship? No. I really think if Everton did go down, and again, I'm not saying I want them to go down, but if they did go down, we could be looking at another Portsmouth, another Sunderland, and
it depends. It depends how they rebuild it. Because I do think they can come back up. Because one thing Everton do have is a good academy. I will say that they do produce consistently good talent that comes into their first team.
Probably the only light of this season.
Maybe that could be their Jack Grealish show. Because I remember when Villa were going down that year, Jack Grealish was seen as like this, he's getting drunk in Magaluf and all sorts. And when he went down to the Championship, he became that guy.
Yeah.
Hang your hat on Gordon. You can cash in on Calvert-Lewin, you know that. You can cash in on Richarlison. Maybe guys like Iwobi, you'll have to take a loss. Holgate, there'll be options. I think there's players in their team. If they have a fire sale, they can make significant recoveries. But then it's about how you rebuild for me.
And this is what they've not been doing, really, isn't it? By poor recruitment, poor management, poor leadership from
managerial appointments as well.
Honestly, it's not a good time to be an Everton fan. But yeah, 2-1 loss yesterday. Jared Bowen scores again. 24 goals and assists now this season for Jared Bowen.
Bro,
that might be the maybe apart from Kane, that might be the second highest English player.
He should be up there as an underdog in the player of the years. If we're talking like MVPs in regards to most valuable player for their team, he's got to be up there for me, I think. And especially when he went out injured as well, I think they felt it. And him coming back in, clutch goal last minute like that, he's one even for England World Cup maybe.
Let us know in the comments. I mean, I think it's a little bit early for us to be talking not just about him playing for England, but I just feel like we're in April now. It's in November.
Should he be in and around the squad? Because I look at guys like
he deserves to be.
Calvert-Lewin is no longer really performing. One open goal, one goal from open play this season. It's Tony's maybe there, but
as well.
He's really now a bench striker
for the Euros last year. He was so unlucky to miss out. But again, now he can't really play week in, week out.
I look at Bowen and I'm
scoring.
like, he's young. Was he 22, 23?
22, 23.
I'm like, he's got showing ability. He's versatile. He can play wide. He's direct. And I'm like, you could have him as a squad player. And I think since he signed for West Ham, he's been one of the few consistent players I've seen. Man. Even when he's not scoring, he's still involved in build-up play. And I love him, man, personally.
Let us know in the comments. Jared Bowen, massive season for him so far. Should he be on the plane to Qatar? Let us know in the comments. Right, another game that happened over the weekend, the 5:30 kickoff on Friday. Manchester United 1, Leicester City 1. United have won just one of their last 6 games in all competitions now, drawing 3, losing 2 after winning 4 and drawing 3 of the 7 before that. But Leicester have now just lost 1 of the last 5 Premier League games after losing 3 out of 5 before that. So this game had a draw written all over it, didn't it, Fuad?
100%, yeah. Like, I don't think United wanted to really lose points, and I don't think they're really in a position at the moment where they're really putting their fingerprint on games like that. And Leicester, I don't know, are just in this weird space at this minute this season. I think they're just kind of floating. They're happy they're not in a relegation fight, but they're not really competing for Europe, so it is what it is type of thing. But yeah, as you said, draw written all over it from minute 1, in my opinion. And it doesn't really affect anything as well, does it?
Yeah, and I mean, the chances of United finishing in that top 4 now, I would say, are all but gone. I saw a graphic saying the probability percentages of all the teams fighting for top 4. How they work these things out, I don't know. But I know that United's was 9%. for them to finish in the top 4 now.
Their fixture list coming up as well is not the easiest.
Well, listen, they've got to come to Anfield as well on the 19th, a week tomorrow. That's not going to be fun for them. Ronaldo technically injured with an illness, and of course
they go to the Emirates right after that as well. They've bring Chelsea 2 games before the end of the season as well. So
and Palace away as well.
Yeah, so they've still got a couple of games to go to the end of the season, which I can see why it is 9% at the end of the day. But
yeah, so Norwich at home again. You would say that is a 3-point easy on the board, but it hasn't been that way this season. Everton away, always a tough game no matter what, and Everton, are fighting for dear life. Liverpool away, Arsenal away. These are tough games for United, and it doesn't get any easier for them. Now, if there are United fans in the chat, we'd love to know what your expectations were at the start of the season, because it definitely could not have been dropping into 7th place, which crazy. They are now, if you consider Varane coming in, Sancho, Ronaldo. I mean, is there an argument, Fuad, to say that this season the biggest disappointments in the entire league have been Manchester United?
100% without a doubt, especially when you consider start of the season it was Varane, Sancho and Ronaldo coming into a team that had finished 2nd. Even me, I thought they would at least be in and around the title race, but at least Champions League spots.
Minimum.
And then the performances to go with it as well. I think the way the Ollie's situation ended, I think he should have gone at the end of the season. It was almost an inevitable thing.
Messy, yeah.
Ranić coming in now hasn't really improved anything. The team doesn't really have any identities. Like Rashford, individuals are just nowhere to be seen. You look at Rashford, he doesn't look the same player. Martial's out on loan. Greenwood's been banished. Ronaldo looks 37 for the first time in his career. It's like they're relying on Elanga, essentially. It's mad. Fred is looking like one of their standout players this season. It's mad. McTominay is out here playing week in, week out. Bruno's just been given a new 290 grand deal.
Let us know what you think about that, by the way.
Like, it's madness. They're talking about they might be renewing Luke Shaw's deal. What he's done in the last 6 or 7 years to earn that, and I'm sure that will be an upgrade in wages as well. Like, United are in a weird place, and this summer with the new manager coming in, I think this could be their most important appointment since Fergie, honestly. Like, a lot will depend on it for the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's such a big summer for United. They've got to get the right players in, the right players out, and sort up. Which isn't just the job that happens over the summer, by the way, if you're sorting out upstairs. I mean, that could take up to 10 years, really, to get people, the wrong people are running that club.
It's taken Arsenal 5-6 years to get back into a Champions League race. Liverpool, I remember after the Rafa Benitez years, there was a couple of years in the wilderness.
For sure.
Spurs now spent 2-3 years in the wilderness. Like, once you decline from out of those Champions League spots, it's always tough to get back in. And the way United are structured, it's weird. Let us know, United fans in the chat. Optimistic for next season? Do let us know. Right, the standout. I mean, listen, there were some massive results across the whole weekend, but the standout for me, bro, and I'm glad that Matisse wasn't here on Saturday, because he would have been getting terrored. Let's talk about Chelsea 1, Brentford 4. Brentford have beaten Chelsea away for the first time in 9 meetings in all comps. Brentford's 4-1 against Chelsea is the joint biggest Premier League away victory for a newly promoted team against a side starting the day in the top 3 of the table. Also Leeds 3, Aston Villa 0 in October 20. And Brentford now have scored 4 or more goals in a top-flight London derby for the first time since 1937. Let's not forget, this was all in the space of 10 minutes. Bro,
4 goals in 10 minutes. Chelsea have lost by 3 or more goals in a Premier League London derby at Stamford Bridge for just the second time. Protests before the Tuchel divorce, apparently, that he's going through. Is Azpilicueta staying? It looks like he is.
Extension.
But on the pitch, I mean, man, we were watching that here on Saturday. I could not believe it, mate. I could not believe what I was seeing. What was your reaction to that?
Honestly, like, it was fishy from when I first saw the lineups of Chelsea playing a 4-3-3. I said, I know they tried that against Spurs in the Carabao Cup and it worked, but I said against Brentford, a lot of players were rested. I saw Loftus-Cheek starting, Kante playing in the 10 role. I said, I don't know. Thiago Silva in a back 2. And listen, when Rudiger scored that 30-yard screamer, I said, hey, you do what you like. Go celebrate and lose your mind, by all means. But I remember the reverse fixture. It was almost... I got invited to the game and I was like, nice. Yo, I'm low-key a Brentford fan today.
Yeah,
they got snatched last minute, I remember
the game. Was it 1-0?
Yeah, and Mendy had an outstanding game, kept him out, but Brentford delivered in 10 minutes. And it was like Route 1 football. Janel. Both his goals, route one, boom, technique. But I have to give some credit to Tony and Mbembo, because they were causing terror.
They were playing the supporting act, really, weren't they? Setting up the
They didn't really
of...
score, but what they were doing to Chelsea's backline, Mbembo was stretching the play, Tony, the link-up play, we got to give him some credit. The guy is looking like a Premier League striker, and I think there was a lot of doubts about him coming into the Premier League. Can he step that level up? Because we've seen a lot of Championship strikers score those big numbers, and then they don't deliver. Mitrovic, for example. But,
Solanke.
Yeah, but so we'll see kind of how he finishes the season, but... Let's talk about my boy, please, Christian Erikson.
Yes,
let's put some respect on my boy, man. The diamond in the dirt. Honestly, 2 goals in 2 games for the Denmark on international. Comes into now Brentford, and he's been incredible for them, creating, scoring, involved in build-up play. Doesn't look like he's missed a step. And I think it's such a beautiful story for someone who we saw tragically what happened at the Euros. Now it's just completely come back, and he's just picked up where he's left off. Listen, that contract expires in the summer. Conte, go grab my boy. Go bring him home. He's
mentioned it already.
Go bring him home,
man. He'd like to bring him back. The manager of Denmark, I think, came out and said, he's at Brentford at the minute, he's way too good for Brentford, so he'll leave there soon. A little bit disrespectful to Brentford, maybe, but there's no doubt that 10-minute period between, what was it, I would say, so it was about 2 minutes after Rudiger scored, which was about 49 minutes. So I'm saying from 50 to 60 minutes, that 10-minute period is without question the best 10 minutes in Brentford's Premier League history.
Facts. I agree.
Am I wrong?
I agree. And you got to remember, that's the European champions and world champions they're playing. So you got to give Brentford their dues. As much as I want to shit on Chelsea and talk about how bad they were, I'm giving Brentford their dues for that, because they really turned up at Stamford Bridge as well. Listen, full dues, man.
I can't believe it. As the goals were flying in, I mean, even the players themselves couldn't really fathom what was going on.
Even, you know, when like your subs are coming on like Whistler and just chipping in, you know it's a good day out. Like,
I think that was his first touch. I think it was his first touch. Talk to me about how the Chelsea players would have dealt with the stuff that's still going on behind the scenes. You've obviously seen the protests. The Chelsea fans, or a lot of them, don't want Ricketts to come in and own the club. They made their feelings heard before the game. As the players, does that stuff spill into the changing rooms? Because you're looking at it from the outside and it's not resolved yet. There was all these deadlines put on them to say, right, you need to get an owner by this date. That seems to just be extending. Nothing's sorted yet. And whilst this uncertainty is still lingering in the air, it's kind of reflecting on the pitch, isn't it?
The thing is, I don't know. I don't want to overreact with one result. I think it was a bad result. And in all honesty, I think it could come at a perfect time for Chelsea before the Champions League. Kind of a real wake-up call type of thing, because previously, with all this going on, they've still been getting results. They've still been winning trophies. They've still been qualifying. So they've been doing their job throughout. I just think they got caught on an off day where they were kind of over complacent, thinking they could change it around. And listen, Brentford caught them on a good day, but I think Tuchel, I've given him so much credit for how he's dealt with getting the results with all this stuff going on behind the scenes. And then now the fact that we know he's also got personal things going on top of that, I got to give the man a little bit of a respite to say, you know what, you can have an off day, brother. It's all good.
I think it's their first loss since all this has happened. So, you know, hats off to Tuchel, even though he doesn't take his hat off too much.
Hey, listen, that hairline's crazy, bro.
It's creeping back. But listen, massive result there for Brentford. We had a couple of Bees fans in the chat on Saturday. They were just in dreamland. And a massive week for Chelsea now. Real Madrid in the Champions League. They obviously knocked them out last season. Real Madrid, top of the La Liga.
Looking for
Barcelona
revenge.
Actually second now. What a job Xavi is doing over there, by the way. So yeah, let us know in the comments. Can Chelsea bounce back against Real Madrid on Wednesday in the Champions League? Right, Burnley 0, Manchester City 2. Again, this was a game that we kind of knew what the score was going to be, but I just wanted a good fight. And I wanted a 0-0 up until the 70th minute. That's what I was looking for. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. 5 minutes in, De Bruyne smacks one. 20 minutes after that, Gundogan gets one in as well. And then it's just game management. But Man City have now won 14 of the last 15 games against Burnley in all comps, drawing only one, winning each of the last 10 against the Clarets by an aggregate scoreline. of 34-1.
Yes, talk about it. Because
Dyche ball.
I swear to you, you see when people see this fixture, they always think, yeah, Burnley are going to give City a tough day. And even if you watch Pep in the presses, they're unbelievable. They're so difficult to break down. I cannot believe it. I'm like, why are you lying? Who are you lying to? Because you go there and whip them 5-0 every single time. Yeah. And then you talk about, the low block is difficult to break down. Shut up! You whipped them, as you said, what was it?
34-1.
Come on, man. That's not even a contest. Just give the 3 points before the game. I knew what this was, but KDB, one thing I'll say is he's starting to look a bit more like himself second half of the season. Yeah. Since that Chelsea slammer he scored. I was like, it'll be interesting to see how he finishes the season because he started off a little bit slow, but City need these games. They're now in a position where, listen, pressure's on them every week as Liverpool are getting the points as well. They have to win every game. Absolutely. Every game, so
and listen, they didn't have to exert themselves massively in the second half. The work was already done. That's why I talked about game management and not allowing Burnley to get a sniff, even though there was, even before that, De Bruyne goal after 5 minutes. I think Josh Brownhill almost hits the post with a header. So I was thinking, oh, hello, Burnley are up for it today. Bang, 1-0, bang, 2-0.
Brownhill's decent.
So not great. Burnley have now lost 4 consecutive Premier League games without scoring for the first time since May 2015. They play Everton on Wednesday night, Fuad. Now, I can't stress the importance of that game for both teams. If Burnley win that game on Wednesday, which I wouldn't put it past them to do, they could do it. Everton are in the mud even more than they currently are. But if Everton win, Burnley, it looks like they might go down. So that game on Wednesday, everything hangs on that.
It's literally the definition of a 6-pointer. Like, it's make or break for both teams type of thing. And it could be one of them momentum swingers. I think every Premier League season, you always get that one team that last 6 or 7 games, they just go on this little magical run. Whether it's a Newcastle, whether it's a Leicester, a Sunderland, whatever it is, let's see who it can be.
There will be a great escape. There always is. But we'll see who it is. Burnley and Everton on Wednesday. Massive game. Let us know in the comments if you are a Burnley fan. If you are an Everton fan, tell us how big that game is for you, for both of these teams. Unbelievable big game that is. Right, let's move on to Leeds Southampton over the weekend. 1-1 it finished. Southampton have gained 7 points from losing positions away from home in the Premier League this season. Only West Ham and Brighton have recovered more points. Another free kick from James Ward-Prowse. That's 13 now in the Premier League. 18 is the record. David Beckham. I mean, is there any doubt when I would say, as a statement, James Ward-Prowse is the best set-piece taker in the Premier League? True or false?
Facts. In Europe.
In Europe?
Let's scratch that and say in Europe. Because who are we going to say? Lionel Messi? No.
Hasn't scored a free kick for a while.
No. Like, I'm sorry,
Ronaldo,
James
no free kicks in a while.
Prowse is that guy. But because he's English, because he plays for Southampton, people won't say it. But he's been the number one. And I give credit to one of my boys as well. He's been calling it for like 4 years ago. He's been saying he's the number one free kick taker. Nice. And the thing about him is it's not just direct free kicks, it's indirect ones as well. He's so accurate with all set pieces. It's just dead ball technique. Quality.
There's not many better.
Trent is close, not far. He's getting there as well, but I think Ward-Prowse is just a cut above, and the fact that now he's getting close to Beckham's record.
If you look at his body shape when he hits a free kick, both feet off the floor, and it's a whip, but the accuracy that he gets, it's unerring.
You know where you can tell someone's put their 10,000 hours?
That's the 10,000 hours. That's training ground business.
He's put the 10,000 hours in, I'm telling you. You can just tell the way he hits the ball. There's always going to be a threat or something's going to come of it. It's almost like do you remember Rory Delap throwing? You just know something's going to come
comes
out.
Yeah. I don't know how there managed to be a towel everywhere that he managed to have a throw.
To kick out for a corner rather than a throw-in.
And then they'd throw the towels off. The ball boys like, come on, give me the towel. No, unbelievable, unerring accuracy. And then you look at the actual technique. He can score whippers, as most of his free kicks have been. But then you look at that one he scored against Wolves from 40 yards out, where it's just laces, knuckleball. Yeah. I mean, this guy's got everything in his locker. Are we looking at a player who, with all due respect to Southampton, is maybe playing a little bit above his station there? Or is that his level? You could say that, but personally, I love that he's that homegrown boy. He's almost like their new Matt Letizia. Matt Letizia, if you like. Great comparison.
And I think Southampton have that kind of boyhood. They produced a lot of young talents over the years. Chamberlain, Walcott, Bale, and he's just been one that stuck through it. And I like it. We rarely see nowadays one club men. and I like that he's kind of been their staple captain, set piece taker. Stay there, man. Sometimes that's your position, you hold it down.
And it looks like he will be going to the World Cup as well of England. Again, very competitive places there in the central
utility, man.
Midfield. You've got so many players that could play there.
Dying minutes of a game, last 10. You just need someone on set pieces. Extra time, maybe legs are tired. Get Ward-Prowse on. Something's going to happen.
There you go. Let us know in the comments what you thought about that goal. Important point for Leeds, that as well. Jack Harrison scoring for them. Wolves 2, Aston Villa 1. Now, Wolves have won 4 of their last 6 games against Villa. One more than they won in the previous 26 meetings with Villa. But after winning 3 consecutive league games, Villa have now lost 3 in a row. Their longest streak since a run of 5 ending in November 2021. Aston Villa have done enough to stay up. They're not in any questions or any arguments when it comes to those teams that could potentially go down. However, when you win 3 games, and let's not forget, I think Gerrard came in and won 3 of the first 4 when he started. I think there was a period of maybe 6 without a win. Win 3 in a row, lose 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Consistently inconsistent, Aston Villa.
Yeah, they're kind of going through what Spurs were going through maybe a month or 2 ago. And honestly, I can imagine it's frustrating for the fans. And Villa are a weird team as well, because I think they're similar like Everton. They always wonder what their ambitions are at the start of the season. Is it to really push the European teams? Is it to just kind of be a mid-table kind of safe team? I think with Gerrard coming in, they want to take that next step. They've brought in the likes of Coutinho. They've got some quality midfields there, in all honesty. I think depth-wise, they're up there in the Premier League in terms of quality. But consistency, they just can't seem to get it. And this season, they're not really playing for anything. My question will be, I said when Gerrard took this job, I don't think he really should have took it, because I felt like at Rangers he would have got maybe Champions League, he would have continued winning silverware, it would have just carried on looking good for a CV, get that 3-year kind of block of Scottish domination. Coming to Villa, it's a little bit of, all right, next season, is he now going to compete for Europa League spots? Because even if they do spend more money like they did this summer, I don't know if Villa really can push into that top 6. So it's a little bit of, every season is a little bit
in their squad that have underperformed this season. There was so much hype, and I was part of it, that was saying Leon Bailey is going to come and destroy the Premier League. Injuries have hampered his season. Ollie Watkins, Danny Ings.
Buendia.
I don't think all 3 of... Well, Buendia's come in and out, but again, not consistent enough. Those 3 strikers who I thought should have played every game, and I'm talking about Ings, Watkins and Bailey, I don't think any of them have scored more than maybe 5 goals in the Premier League season.
And with any team, you need a goal scorer. And especially if you've spent that money on those players where you're thinking, I'm actually going to get a combination of
Grealish
10,
money.
12, literally. And let's not lie, because at the time everyone was saying, wicked how they've relayed it into 3 or 4 different players, and they're all going to chip in 10, 12, and their chairman sat down and broke it down all for us.
Which I liked at the time.
I loved it.
At the time.
But hey, listen, we need to see some progression at some point, because Villa fans, I'm sure, they're sick of finishing 9th, 10th, 8th every season. They actually want to kick on and push on. I worry that for Gerrard, that if he's not able to do that, is that going to be a knock on his kind of CV a little bit? Are people going to say, is the Liverpool job a little bit too big for him then?
This is it.
Do you know what I mean? Because I know that's where everybody lines him up towards. And I just think, had he gone to that Scottish domination, it would have been a nice... People are like, oh, he's winning. Yeah. He can do his thing. He's playing Champions League football. At Villa, people are going to be like, hey, he can't even manage the guys like Ings and Buendia.
This is it.
Can he manage
Liverpool
Mane and
fans
Salah?
are looking at that, thinking, if he does a great job at Villa, great. If he doesn't do a great job at Villa, then why would we want him? And I think only recently, with the emergence of Pep Linders and how much Klopp really rates him, and we've seen how influential he is, if Klopp does go in 2 years, who would say that Gerrard should get that job ahead of Pep Linders, who would be the natural number 2 just to step into number 1. So let us know in the comments. But Steven Gerrard, with it all to do in front of him, yes, they're staying up in the Premier League next season, but this summer has to be a massive summer for him, for the club, the recruitment, getting the right players in and out. I know he's a massive fan of Jacob Ramsey. He sees a lot of himself in him at that age. He's going to
be one of the biggest benefactors of Gerrard.
Good player, very good player as well. And if you look at their actual starting 11, Emi Martinez, one of the best goalkeepers in the Prem last season, brought in got rid of Target, Luca Dean injured now. Mings, Konza, you got House there, Matty Cash in the middle, John McGinn, Douglas Luiz, Jacob Ramsey, you got Buendia, Coutinho.
Bro, depth.
Bro, that's a good team.
I told you, this is what I was saying to you. Midfield, when you look at depth-wise and you look at the names, you should be like, yo, they should be in the top 6 with all this. Like, they've got combinations. Even if you sub them off, it's like for like quality. But for some reason, they're just missing that little bit of something. I don't know. I thought when Coutinho came in, he could maybe give them that little bit of X factor, maybe. But they need goals. Yeah. They need to find a goal scorer, and one of those guys up front has to step up.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you are a Villa fan. I know Luke Vernon wouldn't be happy with that result at the weekend. So yeah, big rest of the season there for Aston Villa. 6 times says Gerrard isn't ready for the Liverpool level. Of course, he's still got time, but let's see what happens there. Right, another game that happened on Saturday. I have to say, what a boring game this one was. We had Ben from the Seagull Socials in the studio. The Brighton fan, they drew 0-0 at home with Norwich. Bit of a useless result for both teams, to be honest. Brighton have taken just 1 point from the last 7 Premier League games after picking up 13 from the 7 before that. And let's not forget, let's cast our minds back to October, November time. A lot of people were saying Graham Potter is the guy to Potterball, more like Quidditch, to be honest, at this stage.
They were linking him to the Spurs job, saying, yeah, he should.
I've seen it all.
Get out of him, man.
Neil Maupay skies a penalty over the bar. He's missed too many penalties for Brighton now. He can't take one again,
he's
surely.
A criminal.
I mean, Norwich, we know they're probably very likely due to go down. Brighton, I mean, Ben had his... what are they called? The
half and halves.
No, it wasn't the half and half. What do the Hawaiian dons wear around the beach?
Oh,
with the
lei.
Yeah,
it's called the lei.
Okay, he had one of them on, and he was saying we're on the beach, and you could tell this was a game that was literally played on the beach almost.
They're a weird team, Brighton, man. They've been in a slump, it feels like, for a long time as well, and I think maybe them starting the season so well gave them that kind of cushion to do it, but. And just a nothing result, to be honest. 0-0, kind of expected.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the most exciting game to get excited about, but it was 0-0 in the end, and I guess that was a better point than no points at all for Brighton. Lost 5 in a row.
Pay though, man. I'm sorry, man. He's got blood on his hands. He's a guy who has been at the club for a couple of years now, I feel like, and has never really delivered. I think he's had these kind of
a lot of this though.
What he's had is a couple of nice shithouse moments where maybe Arsenal against Arsenal or against I don't even know a lower league side where you think, hey, he's kind of got them the result and he lives off that for the rest of the season.
Did he score a last minute equaliser away at Palace as well?
I think
which
so.
Is big for Brighton,
yeah. So he has these 1 or 2 moments throughout the season, but too many times that big penalty, that big chance, he just skies it and no one ever mentions it. And Brighton, I'm sorry, for as long as they have a number 9 like that, you're never going to progress.
Yeah, not going to do the business. Let us know in the comments if Brighton are, good enough to stick around for the long term. Obviously, Graham Potter had a poor second half of the season, but he did well in the first half. So let us know in the comments if that is going to happen. Right. The last game we're going to speak about was the first game of the weekend. We've gone in reverse chronological order, which I love. Organisation. Liverpool 2, Watford 0. Again, for maybe the 5th, the 6th, the 7th time this season, you've heard me say, not vintage Liverpool, but a clean sheet, 2 more goals, 3 more points, Fuad. And when now you see that Liverpool have won 10 Premier League games in a row, by the way, becoming just the second side to embark on such a run of 5 separate occasions after Man City, also with 5, everything seemed like it's coming together. And do you know what? Because this game was before the Man City game, it's been traditional of Liverpool to have the opportunity to close the gap, and then we fail.
You're just adding the pressure.
Traditionally, 12:30 kickoffs at Anfield can be a bit flat, but the last 12:30 kickoffs we've had beaten Brighton 2-0 away, beaten Watford 2-0 at home, which are the games that you need to win.
100%.
It's going to go down to the wire. The game on Sunday just becomes potentially the biggest Premier League game, maybe since that game at the Etihad when they won 2-1 and the ball wasn't over by 1.1 centimetres, which stopped us from winning the league. It's like 11 millimetres. I can't believe it. But it just builds up for what promises to be a monumental game on Sunday.
100%. And I think what you said there as well is when you're competing for titles, you're not always going to play swashbuckling football.
No, it's impossible.
I think it's nice when you do, but as long as you get the 3 points on the board, and as you said, when you're catching and chasing City, They need to win every game as well. You need to win every game. It don't matter how it's done. Just get the 3 points. And against Watford, that's what you've done. I think against Norwich the other week, you did similar, where you didn't really play great, but that's what good teams are supposed to do. Even when you're not playing great, we're still able to pull out a result. And against City now, this, as you said, is one of the tastiest fixtures, because both these teams play really good football. They both have a style. They've both had a rivalry over the years where, all right, you win the league, I'll win the Champions League. Yeah. All right, you go Champions League final, I'll try to win the league this year, or whatever. Yeah. There's always something being competed for, and these games always mean something. So now it's coming to this apex. I just want to see what happens next week. What's your feeling going into that? Like, are you confident of a result?
I am confident of a result. I think even if it's Man City, you still look at your own squad. Let's not look at them too much and look at our own squad, because we on our day can beat anyone, as we've seen, of course. Yeah. But Manchester City, as you've seen in the press conference, Guardiola said, look, they've offered us a challenge, and we accept the challenge, and let's have an amazing title running now, which for the neutrals is great, but for Liverpool fans, we're thinking of the quadruple, obviously. But what we shouldn't forget is Man City could still win the treble.
Yeah, they can still ruin the party.
They could still easily ruin the party, but I can't call it. Let us know in the comments. We did a poll on the Saturday Football Show that said who's going to win the league. It was 50-50, bro.
It is.
We couldn't.
I can't even lie to you. One week I'm like Liverpool. The next week I'm like City will hold on to it, because I can't see them slipping up. But I don't know. It's so tight, honestly, and I think both teams are so good as well. And the one thing they do is they go on these long stretches of consistent winning. Yeah. So you can never call it, to be honest.
Going to be so close. One other thing that I wanted to say regarding the game on Saturday, it's 0-0. Watford go through and Alison makes a huge save. I think it's from Hernandez just before Jota scores the first goal. But let's talk about Alison, because I think he's pushing Ederson in the Golden Glove this season. I think they're both on 16 clean sheets.
Yeah.
But the saves that he makes cannot be understated.
Bro.
We'll be often 0-0 in a game. And listen, you know more than anyone, Liverpool do give you chances, but it's about, do you take them? Watford didn't take them. But he makes that save at 0-0, and then 30 seconds later we go on and score. How
Best
important
keeper in the
is he?
Best keeper in the world,
Really?
in my
Would you
opinion,
say that,
honestly. Yeah, I think what people would say, Jan Oblak. If you've watched Jan Oblak for the last year or so, he hasn't looked himself. Donnarumma. Did we forget the Champions League? What happened? Like
Italy as well.
Yeah, like Mendy, you could maybe shout and say he's competing, but I think like Alison consistently year in year out has shown himself to be one of the best signings Liverpool have made. Equally, I think it's like people focus so much on the impact VVD had, they almost sleep on what Alison brought as well. I think that protection, that sweeping, he's got everything you need from a goalkeeper. Reflexes, like commands his area, he's strong, like every box he ticks. And I just think world-class goalkeeper, honestly, one of the best keepers, will go down as one of the best keepers in Premier League history.
I love that. He's just said everything I wanted to say myself.
I'm not even joking. He's a top goalkeeper, man.
Big Seriously. Up to Mark T.
How old is he as well?
27.
Brother. 27. He's around for another 10 years. Yeah. And it's like this season, the one thing I've seen as well is the mistakes will always be there when you play that kind of style he does. You'll always have that. But the big saves where he's getting the team out of jail, or where you lot could go 1-0 down.
9 out of 10 times he's there.
Bro, I'm just like,
he's there.
How?
Yeah.
How can you do this? And he just always does it.
Concentration more than anything, because, you know, 70% of the time that we're going to be playing in a game, we're going to be on the front foot, we're going to have possession. So if we're in the front foot and we've got possession up that end, Alison could just...
Bro, and that's how you fall asleep. Top goalkeepers, that's how they fall asleep. I'll be honest with you, Lloris falls asleep like that sometimes. I'm sure he gets bored where he's thinking, okay, cool, boom, concedes. And I'm like, top goalkeepers, concentration is one of the biggest aspects, and he's improved massively as well. I think he was quality when he came in, but his improvements are being slept on because he's playing at such a high level. Yeah.
Let us know in the comments. Mendy, obviously a shout as well. But when you concede 4 goals in 10 minutes at home to Brentford, I think for this week anyway, you get left out of that conversation. But big up to Alison, another clean sheet for him. A massive game for Liverpool tomorrow night in the Champions League as well against Benfica. But that doesn't conclude all the games. There is one tonight as well. We like a bit of Monday night football, and it is a bit of a London derby. Technically, this should be a South London derby if we're going to get into the history.
Well, let's not go there, shall we?
But no, it is North versus South London. Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. We've seen Robbie outside Selhurst Park comparing Emil Smith-Rowe to Gallagher, with a Crystal Palace fan getting in the mood for the game today. If Arsenal do win this, and again I emphasise if, because they have a tendency to kind of slip in the big moments, but if Arsenal win this one tonight, does that make them favourites for the top 4?
They've been the favourites for top 4, to be honest. It's always been kind of in their hands, and even now they've got 2 games in hand.
Do you prefer that, with it being in their hands, in terms of let's let them make the mistakes?
Yeah, 1, I would prefer it, but 2, I also think it's a true reflection of the season. I think Arsenal have been more consistent. Arsenal have played better than Spurs in large spells of the season and look like a more cohesive team in large parts of the season as well. So it's only right, to be honest. They've got 2 games in hand now. This is a big one, because I think Palace have been one of those teams that don't sleep on them. They can really haunt you. They hit us for 3 earlier in the season. They caught Man City out earlier in the season as well. Like Vieira as well. Listen, he might be telling Arteta, brother, I'm coming for your job. And this is the first notice.
Wow. This is the first notice.
So
wow.
they're in an FA Cup semi-final. They're having a really good season as well, having some standout players. Elise, Edouard, Eze is now getting back involved as well. But listen, they're building something. If
FA
they can
Cup
snatch
semi-final as well against Chelsea coming up, man.
Yeah, so for me, this will be a big test for Arsenal. And pressure's been on now. So we'll see if they can step up. As you said, they've crumbled in previous moments.
I'll say this. If Arsenal win tonight, top 4 or even top 3 is theirs to lose.
Hey,
I would say
Chelsea
we've just had a super chat here from Mark T.
Chelsea are getting
Liverpool to win the league, Chelsea to be in 4th by the end of the season, Arsenal take 3rd, Everton, Burnley and Norwich to go down. That's his prediction there. Let us know in the comments, where will Arsenal finish this season? You've seen Chelsea slip away a little bit. You've seen Tottenham pick up their form. Could we see the North London club sneaking into 3rd and 4th? Could.
Let me not speak. If I speak, I'll be in trouble.
Don't want to get clipped up, but you want to say it how it is as well. JKK says Arsenal will bottle it as always. Arsenal should get the dub, says Dirk. Arda saying, do you think Chelsea can bottle the top 4? Arsenal 3rd, Tottenham 4th. This is what we were. And then Champions of the World saying, don't be silly, AGT. So
listen, they might bottle top 4 and then win the Champions League back to back.
They could.
And it would be just the weirdest thing. It would be so Chelsea-like.
Football, really.
Didn't you lot do that in 05 as well?
Came 5th in the Prem and won the Champions League. And then we had to do like 3 qualifying rounds the next year. You lot were actually the first
team that made that rule come in, where if you win the Champions League, we got to let them in next year.
But do you know what? Everton still had the Champions League that season and still lost the qualifiers to Villarreal.
Yeah.
And guess who was the referee that game on his last ever refereeing performance ever? Pierluigi Collina.
No.
Facts.
Legend.
And I actually watched back the highlights of that tie, home and away. Everton got robbed, bro. They still talk about it now. There's pictures of Pierluigi Collina's face in certain pubs with a big cross for it like that. And that was his last game of football, and he gave, I think, a foul against the Tim Cahill header, which actually would have sent them through.
Fans were buying Pro Evolution 6 now. He was on the front cover with the whistle.
Yeah, looking hella mean, man.
No other ref is getting that these days.
Superstar ref. But let us know in the comments what you think. Who is going to finish 3rd? Who's going to finish 4th? Chelsea, some massive games for them. They could easily slip out of 3rd place, as we know. They have got Arsenal, West Ham, Everton, Wolves, United and Watford. I'll say this, there's no easy games in the Premier League. They don't exist. When you look at Chelsea at home to a team like a Watford, trust me, that can still be difficult. And we've seen Brentford just go and win 4-1. So Chelsea fans, let us know. Semi-final against Crystal Palace. Can you win the FA Cup? Still in the Champions League. Madrid. Chelsea could even do a double this season still. Yeah. Which is wild.
Listen, Chelsea do that every single year. Even if they're having a bad year or a down
still
year.
Win something.
We're leaving with something.
It's like when you're at a party and you've come a long way and there's a bit of food left. It's like, I'm taking that. Do you know how far I've come?
Listen, I'm leaving with something.
Some yams. Yes, let us know in the comments. Chelsea won't get Champions League football, says Unspoken T. Interesting there. Arsenal will bottle today. Come on, Crystal Palace, says P.O. Block. Fuad knows, says Champions of the World. Spuds, a dead small club. We weren't even talking about Spurs, and you had to bring that one up, my guy. Right, that rounds up another weekend roundup on DR Sports. What an incredible weekend it's been. It's really getting into business time now, bro.
Squeaky bum time,
as we like to call call it, in this country. Of course, we'll be back throughout the week with Champions League games on DR Sports. We'll be back on Saturday with the Saturday Football Show, as always. And then, of course, Sunday, Liverpool go to the Etihad, or the Emptyhad, as I should call it, to take on Manchester City in what promises to be, without question, bro, the biggest game in the Premier League this season. Unbelievable. Don't forget, F1 Grand Prix on Sunday as well. We're going to have the watch along for that. If you are up for it, 5 a.m.
Listen,
some start that, isn't it?
They be doing them in Australia.
On DR Sports. We're going to be seeing a lot of coffees, even though I don't drink coffee, to be fair.
Or
but
have an early night
on at 5 a.m. on Sunday, commentating on the Australian Grand Prix. Good luck to you. Going to be a great show, though. Really interested to see it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Fuad, like always, bro. You know how much I rate your football knowledge. It's been a pleasure again to have you on the show, bro. It always is. Go and follow this guy as well. Stoppage time as well. Hopefully going to be on that with you this weekend as well.
Bruv,
so that'll be interesting. But guys, it's been a great show again as we round up what's happened in the Premier League over the weekend. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you next Monday. Take care.
Peace.